Well, the simple response I have to that is lead by example. A more complex response would be to understand the habitual patterns that we become slaves to. And I'm talking about like materialism. And I don't mean just the acquisition of material things, but the who we are as judged by who we know, by what we wear, by what we know, by credentials, and thereby setting up a level of comparison which inevitably leads to judgment with others. To be able to suspend that and accept others for their intrinsic worth rather than these material trappings. Now, it's so much easier said than done, but I feel I've experienced that myself. I feel that there have been people in my midst, including the interviewer, who are constantly working on this, and the better for it. So it comes back to don't buy into these patterns of judgment and comparison and destruction, and to let the people around you see that it is perfectly possible, and not only that, enormously beneficial to function in that way. One is a story about the famous paleontologist Richard Leakey, who, as most people know, is pretty much responsible for seeing the earliest of the hominids that we now know walked the earth. I think in Tanzania. I'm not sure exactly where it was. But I read an article by him many years ago where he said that the underpinning of human evolution, the base of it was compassion. And he used as an example that he would come across bones which had obviously been greatly injured and had been given an opportunity to heal. And he said, unlike any other species, that meant that somebody was taking care of that early hominid, giving them that opportunity to heal, and that's unique in the human condition. The other thing I'd like to like to refer back to the teachings from Buddhism that have become important to me, and they talk about there being three vehicles: the Hinayana, the Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. And in the Hinayana, what they do is they cultivate meditation so that you are not a slave of habitual thinking. And through that, it becomes a vehicle to enlightenment. Now, I just want to quickly define enlightenment as being just that, where you are totally present and not being directed by these habitual patterns and discursive mind. And the Buddha said, that's fine. He said, but that's not where it ends. And that's where he did the second turning of the wheel, which is called the Mahayana. And in the Mahayana, you take that bodhisattva vow, which we talked about earlier, where basically you just suspend all notions of enlightenment. Instead, what you are doing is taking a worldview that you do everything to help other people achieve this understanding. And the way they put it is, until every blade of grass has an opportunity for enlightenment, you do not pursue enlightenment or accept enlightenment. And that's a teaching which resonates very deeply with me. And without preaching any kind of Buddhist doctrine, is a concept which I'd like to see expand and understood, particularly by people who are in positions of authority.